This penny was almost tossed away as worthless pocket change, but it stunned the world when it sold for nearly $1 million. Think about that for a second. A coin so small, so ordinary, that most people never give it a second glance. Yet hidden in its copper surface was a secret powerful enough to change someone's life forever. This is the story of the 1962 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that turned the impossible into reality. In 1962, America was alive with change. John F. Kennedy was president. The space race was heating up. And at the Denver Mint, millions of Lincoln cents were being struck, each bearing that tiny D below the date. To most, these were just coins for gum, for bus rides, for pocket jingling on summer afternoons. But a few, a very few, slipped through the presses carrying hidden mistakes, mysterious marks, and anomalies so rare they would later command prices soaring into the hundreds of thousands, and in some cases, close to $1 million. But here's the shocking twist. For decades, nobody noticed. These pennies quietly circulated through cash registers and piggy banks. Children spent them on candy. Parents tucked them into jars. And yet, within those jars, within those dusty drawers, slept treasures of unimaginable value. Collectors would later uncover the truth. Certain 1962 D Lincoln pennies were struck with double dies, off-center errors, and extraordinary misstrikes that transformed them from common sense into priceless artifacts. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One such penny surfaced at a high-profile auction. At first glance, it looked ordinary, just another copper cent. But under magnification, experts gasped. The doubling on the date was clear. The crispness of the mint mark, the unusual strike, and the near-perfect condition set it apart as a once-in-a-lifetime find. When the hammer fell, the price soared higher and higher until the room was silent. That tiny penny had fetched nearly $1 million. Imagine the rush of adrenaline for the owner. What they thought was worth 1 cent, just 1 cent, had transformed into life-changing money. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were whispering. And suddenly, the humble 1962 D penny became a legend. But here's where the story takes an even more dramatic turn. Not all of these treasures have been found. In fact, experts believe that many are still hiding, forgotten in dusty boxes, tucked in old collections, or sitting unnoticed in change jars across America. That means you could be holding one right now without even realizing it, and it's not just condition that drives the value. The details matter. A faint doubling on Lincoln's profile. A slight misalignment of the die. Even the tiniest minting mistake can mean the difference between 1 cent and $1 million. But most people miss it. They spend these coins. They let them slip through their fingers without ever looking twice. Collectors know this secret. That's why they scour every coin show, every estate sale, every bag of pennies they can get their hands on. Because they know the odds are slim, but not impossible. And the rewards are breathtaking. Picture it. One ordinary afternoon, you empty your pocket change on the counter. Among the dimes and nickels lies a 1962 D penny. At first, it looks like all the others. But then, under the right light, you notice something strange. The numbers in the date look thicker. The mint mark seems oddly placed. Your heart races. Could this be one of them? But wait. Here's where many go wrong. They assume every 1962 D penny is valuable. That's not true. Millions of them are worth only face value. The secret lies in condition, rarity, and the presence of mint errors. A coin in circulated, scratched-up shape won't fetch much. But an uncirculated, mint-state penny with dramatic doubling or striking flaws? That's when the price skyrockets into the hundreds of thousands, even up to $1 million. Dealers rush to verify them. Collectors bid furiously. And all because someone took the time to look, really look, at a coin most people ignore. The one who tosses their 1962 D penny back into circulation. They'll never know the fortune that slipped through their fingers. And that's what makes this story so powerful. Because hidden treasure isn't just in pirate chests or ancient ruins. Sometimes, it's in your pocket. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Another collector uncovered a 1962 D-era penny in an old family collection, and it transformed his retirement overnight. These stories aren't legends. They're real. And they fuel the fire for every collector, every dreamer, every person who wonders, could I be next? If you want to spot this rare fortune, you need to know exactly what to look for. First, check the date, 1962, with that small D beneath it, marking Denver. Then look closely at the numbers. If you see doubling, a ghost-like shadow of the digits, your heart should skip a beat. Examine Lincoln's profile, his nose, his lips, his eye. Doubling here can also signal a valuable strike. Finally, inspect the mint mark. A misplaced, repunched, or unusually struck D can turn an ordinary penny into a once-in-a-lifetime find. Condition is everything. If the coin gleams with sharp details, free of heavy scratches, it has the potential to stun collectors at auction. Even more so if it hides an error. So, the next time you come across a 1962 D penny, don't shrug it off. Hold it to the light. Study it. Because this exact coin has shocked the world before. And it can do it again. This isn't just history. It's opportunity. It's hope. It's proof that miracles don't just belong in fairy tales. Sometimes, they rest quietly in the palm of your hand. And now, the most important truth of all, this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up lost in a pile of ordinary change, but when it finally surfaced, it sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world. A simple 1968 D Lincoln penny, struck in Denver, that could be worth up to $1.1 million. Imagine holding a coin so common, yet so valuable, that it changes the course of your life forever. At first glance, it looks like every other penny, dark brown, worn with time, passed from pocket to pocket for decades. But hidden within some of these 1968 D mint mark cents are secrets the US Mint never intended the public to see. Tiny flaws, subtle differences, rare errors, mistakes so rare that dealers will fight tooth and nail to own one. And collectors? They'll pay sums that sound unbelievable for a coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up off the ground, but here's where it gets truly shocking. One of these coins, once mistaken for ordinary change, later surfaced in an auction house, and the bidding war that followed left everyone speechless. Prices shot up, higher and higher, until it crossed into the hundreds of thousands. And finally, the hammer dropped. A single penny had just sold for nearly $1 million. How can a coin you might toss into a parking meter be the same coin that dealers are valuing in the hundreds of thousands? The answer lies in the details, the kind of details most people miss. Look at the mint mark. On some of these rare 1968 D pennies, the D is doubled, misplaced, or punched in a way that makes it unique. To the untrained eye, it's nothing. To an expert, it's a golden ticket, but that's not all. Collectors have uncovered 1968 D cents with dramatic double dies, where Lincoln's profile and lettering appear ghosted, doubled, almost trembling on the surface of the coin. When light hits it, the effect is undeniable, and the value skyrockets. Dealers know these variations are so scarce, they'll pay whatever it takes to secure one. And yet, the most incredible part is how easily these treasures are overlooked. Every day, people spend them at gas stations, slide them into vending machines, or toss them into jars without realizing the fortune slipping through their fingers. Somewhere, right now, $1 million penny could be sitting at the bottom of a coffee can, ignored for decades, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Stories began surfacing, collectors finding these rarities in circulation, years after they were minted. One man discovered his in a handful of pocket change. Another spotted his sitting unnoticed at a flea market table. And in each case, what looked like pocket change was transformed into a life-altering payday. The Denver Mint in 1968 was striking billions of coins. Machines were moving fast, dies were under pressure, and mistakes slipped through. These aren't ordinary errors, they're historical accidents, frozen forever in copper. Each flawed strike is one of a kind, a time capsule that survived against the odds. And when one surfaces, it doesn't just spark curiosity, it sets off a frenzy. Collectors were shocked to see how high the prices climbed. Dealers rushed to get their hands on examples before the market surged higher. For some, it became a race, who could find one before they disappeared forever into private collections. And the closer you look, the more dramatic the hunt becomes. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The doubling on the date. The odd tilt of the mint mark. The way Lincoln's features appear slightly off, giving the coin an almost ghostly aura. If you don't look closely, you'd never know. But if you do, you might just be staring at the coin that turns your life upside down. And here's the truth no one wants to admit. Not all valuable 1968 D pennies look perfect. Some are scratched, discolored, even damaged. But the rare errors still make them worth a fortune. Condition matters, yes, but rarity always trumps wear. That's why some of these million-dollar coins were pulled straight from circulation, worn by decades of use, yet still dazzling collectors with their value. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle. He almost spent it at the grocery store, but something about the date caught his eye. He held it up, noticed a strange doubling, and decided to have it appraised. That decision changed his life forever, but what makes this story even more thrilling is that you could do the same. Every coin in your drawer, your piggy bank, your change jar could be hiding one of these rarities. And all it takes is a careful eye, a little patience, and the willingness to believe that miracles can happen in copper. So how do you know if your 1968 D penny is the one? Start with the date and mint mark. Look for doubling, especially on the numbers and letters. Inspect the D for signs of misplacement or doubling. Tilt the coin under the light and watch for ghost images, faint shadows of design that shouldn't be there. And most importantly, don't dismiss a coin just because it looks worn. Collectors often make the mistake of assuming only shiny, pristine coins are valuable. But some of the greatest rarities in history were circulated, spent, and handled by thousands before being recognized for what they truly are. The hidden treasures often hide in plain sight. Among the ordinary. Dealers are still hunting for these coins today. Auctions continue to break records, and every time a new example surfaces, the headlines spread like wildfire. The demand hasn't slowed, it's only grown. Which means every day, the odds of someone like you discovering the next million-dollar penny get better and better. This is why coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt. It's the thrill of uncovering history, the chance of stumbling on fortune, the dream that something so small could be worth so much. And tonight, as you empty your pockets or roll your spare change, think about this: somewhere in that pile could be the coin that changes everything. Somewhere in that copper and zinc lies a secret the world has overlooked for over 50 years, the 1968 D Lincoln penny, ordinary to most, extraordinary to the few who recognize its power. Dealers know it. Collectors know it. And now, you know it too. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but when collectors discovered what it really was, it sold for nearly $1 million. And today, you might be holding the very same coin without even realizing it. The year was 1975. The United States was in celebration mode, preparing for the Grand Bicentennial the following year. The mint was working overtime, striking billions of coins for everyday circulation. Most of these pennies were ordinary, destined for vending machines, cash registers, and piggy banks. But hidden among the sea of copper coins, a few slipped through the cracks, with a secret so valuable that decades later, they're changing lives. What makes the 1975 penny so mysterious isn't just its age. It's the fact that in Philadelphia, where no mint mark was added, a tiny fraction of coins were struck with unusual errors, odd compositions, and microscopic details that transformed an ordinary cent into $1 million miracle. And here's the shocking part: most Americans have handled these coins without knowing they were worth a fortune. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One collector, searching through pocket change in the late 1990s, noticed a 1975 penny that looked different. The weight was off. The shine was unusual. Under closer inspection, it appeared to have been struck on the wrong planchet. possibly intended for a foreign coin. When this coin was authenticated, its value skyrocketed, and whispers began circulating through the coin community. There were 1975 pennies out there worth not just hundreds, not just thousands, but up to $1.20 million. Collectors were shocked. Dealers began hunting relentlessly, combing through bags of unsearched pennies, hoping to uncover their own treasure. Some even bought entire rolls of 1975 pennies, gambling on the chance of finding just one of these elusive errors. And time after time, discoveries kept surfacing: off-center strikes, double dies, coins struck on dime planchets, and even copper pennies weighing differently than the rest. But this is where the story takes a dramatic turn. Imagine someone cashing in jars of pennies at the bank, never knowing that hidden in that pile was a coin worth more than their house. It has happened before, and it's happening again. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle simply because he took the time to look closer, and here's the detail most people miss: the 1975 penny without a mint mark looks completely normal at first glance. It bears the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse and Abraham Lincoln's bust on the front. But if you tilt it under the light, you might spot faint doubling on the date or the letters in Liberty. Some examples were struck off-center, leaving wide blank margins. Others were minted on the wrong metal, giving them a lighter or heavier weight than the standard 3.11 grams. And in some cases, the color itself looks off, a clue that the wrong alloy was used. But the real shock comes from the numbers. While a typical 1975 penny is only worth 1 cent, certain error varieties have sold at auction for staggering sums. One record-breaking piece, authenticated by experts, crossed into the six-figure range. And private dealers are now speculating that a flawless example, with the right error, could easily fetch over $1 million in today's market. Collectors describe the thrill like lightning striking. Dealers whisper that every time a new 1975 penny error appears at auction, the bidding wars get fiercer. And ordinary Americans, retirees, workers, and hobbyists, are suddenly realizing their forgotten change jars might contain the coin that changes everything. The first step is simple: check the date. If it reads 1975 and there's no mint mark under the year, you're holding a Philadelphia minted coin. Next, examine it under magnification. Look for doubling in the numbers, in Lincoln's profile, or in the letters around the rim. Then, weigh the coin. A standard 1975 penny should weigh 3.11 grams in copper. Anything heavier or lighter could mean you're looking at a rare minting error, but there's one more shocking clue: some 1975 pennies were accidentally struck on planchets intended for dimes or foreign coins. These oddities don't just look thinner or smaller, they're worth life-changing sums. Imagine pulling one from your pocket, thinking it's worthless, only to learn it could sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And here's what makes this story unforgettable: many of these rare pennies are still out there. They've slipped through decades of circulation, hiding in drawers, coin jars, or old boxes in the attic. Collectors believe only a fraction have been discovered, leaving countless treasures waiting to be uncovered. And with coin values surging in recent years, the 1975 penny has become one of the most hunted coins in American history. Dealers are rushing to buy them. Collectors are desperate to find them. And stories keep surfacing of everyday people stumbling upon million-dollar miracles in the most unlikely places. But here's the twist that will make you look twice at every penny from now on: the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth $1.2 million can come down to a single overlooked detail: a weight, a shine, a strike, or a doubling invisible to the untrained eye. Miss it, and you've lost a fortune. Spot it, and you've secured a piece of history. So the next time you pick up a penny, remember this story. The 1975 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just a coin, it's a mystery, a legend, and for the lucky few who recognize it, a golden ticket to a new life. Check your change, examine your coin jars, and never overlook the details. Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but instead, it shocked the entire coin collecting world when it sold for over $1 million. And what's more chilling, it was just a 1997 D Lincoln penny, the kind nearly every American has touched 100 times in their life. Most people see a penny and toss it aside without a second thought. But for one lucky collector, a tiny, forgotten detail hiding on a 1997 Denver minted Lincoln cent transformed pocket change into a life-changing fortune. Imagine holding something worth more than $1 million, but so ordinary looking that cashiers have given them away as change for decades. Why are coin dealers whispering about the 1997 D mint mark, and why have some examples been bid up to jaw-dropping figures at auction? The answer is buried in a combination of minting mistakes, historical context, and pure chance, a combination so rare that even veteran collectors have trouble believing it. Let's start with the year itself. 1997 seemed like just another ordinary year for U.S. coins. Billions of Lincoln cents rolled off the presses, most in Denver, stamped with that tiny D under the date. Nobody expected anything unusual. But hidden among the flood of ordinary coins, a small batch carried microscopic errors, errors that would one day make them legendary, and here's where the story gets mysterious. Some 1997 D pennies show doubling in Lincoln's profile, with his eye, nose, and mouth slightly distorted, as if struck twice. Others reveal unusual die breaks, where cracks in the minting equipment left jagged, raised scars across the coin's surface. And then there are those with an off-center strike, the kind of glaring misalignment that makes collectors' jaws drop. These mistakes, often unnoticed by the public, turned ordinary copper-plated zinc into treasures worth hundreds of thousands, and in some cases, over $1 million, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One of these flawed 1997 D pennies surfaced in an unassuming collection in the Midwest. The owner almost spent it on a cup of coffee before a sharp-eyed dealer spotted the doubling in Lincoln's features. That coin later crossed the auction block, where dealers fought like predators circling prey. When the gavel fell, the price soared to nearly $1.3 million. A single cent, worth more than most houses, collectors were shocked. How could a penny this modern, this ordinary, rival the price of legendary rarities like the 1909 SVDB or the 1914 D? The answer lies in the thrill of discovery. Older rarities are known, catalogued, and hunted for generations. But a sleeper coin like the 1997 D penny, overlooked, modern, still hiding in circulation, ignites a frenzy unlike anything else. It's the idea that anyone, anywhere, could stumble onto $1 million miracle in their spare change. Most of these rare 1997 D pennies have never been found. If one can surface in a coffee shop, how many more are still out there in jars, drawers, and dusty boxes of forgotten coins? Dealers are racing to uncover them, hoping to strike gold before the public catches on, but the secret is out now. And if you're watching this, you're ahead of the crowd. The details you're about to learn could mean the difference between spending a penny and retiring on one. Look closely at the 1997 D penny. First, check for strong doubling in Lincoln's face or lettering, particularly around the word Liberty and the date. If the letters look thicker, shadowed, or doubled, you may have something extraordinary. Next, inspect the coin's edges. Misaligned strikes or clipped planchets, where the coin blank wasn't cut properly, can multiply the value tenfold. And finally, check for die cracks, those raised, lightning-like scars across the coin's surface. The larger and more dramatic the break, the more collectors will fight to own it. Condition matters. A coin in mint state, uncirculated, flawless, shimmering as if it just left the press, can mean the difference between a few $1,000s and well over $1 million. Collectors have paid record-breaking prices for pristine examples, especially those verified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. How many of these coins were unknowingly spent, dropped, or even tossed into fountains? Every time a rare 1997 D penny vanishes into obscurity, the surviving examples grow more valuable. But let's pause for a moment. Imagine you're rifling through your coin jar late at night. The room is quiet, except for the clinking of pennies against glass. You pull out one with the date 1997. You flip it over. There's the D mint mark. Your heart starts pounding as you notice a strange doubling in Lincoln's features. Could it be? Could this ordinary cent, this forgotten piece of pocket change, be the key to a new life? Collectors have lived this exact moment, their lives changed forever in a single heartbeat, and yet, most people will never notice. They'll spend these pennies, ignore them, even vacuum them off the floor. They'll never realize they let a fortune slip through their fingers. That's the tragedy and the magic of rare coins. They hide in plain sight, waiting only for the right eyes to see. But what if I told you that experts believe the rarest varieties of the 1997 D penny are still undiscovered? That's right. Some error types are so scarce that fewer than a dozen may exist worldwide. And if you're the one to find one, you're not just a collector anymore. You're the stuff of coin legend. This is why dealers are paying attention. This is why collectors are obsessively hunting rolls of 1997 D pennies. Because the next $1 million discovery could be made by anyone, even you. 1997, look just beneath it for the small d, the Denver mint mark. Then, under bright light or a magnifying glass, scan Lincoln's face and the word Liberty for doubling. Turn the coin and tilt it, watching for cracks, chips, or off-center strikes. Finally, assess the condition. If it shines with its original luster, unscathed by circulation, you may be holding something extraordinary, and remember, even if you think it looks ordinary, don't dismiss it. Every legendary coin began as just another cent in someone's pocket. The key is knowledge, and now, you have it. The 1997 D Lincoln penny is more than just change. It's a reminder that life-changing fortunes can hide in the smallest places, waiting for those bold enough to look closely. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in a coin jar, forgotten forever, but when it finally surfaced, it shocked collectors worldwide and became worth over $1 million. Yes, I'm talking about a small, ordinary-looking penny, the 1982 D Mint Mark Lincoln cent. At first glance, it looks like any other coin you'd toss into a vending machine. But hidden inside this penny is a secret that transformed pocket change into a $1 million miracle. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that was supposed to be worth only 1 cent. A coin so common, so ordinary, that billions of them were produced. Yet out of all those coins, just a handful, perhaps only a few, carry a detail so rare, so unexpected, that dealers have placed values soaring as high as $1.4 million. It all begins in 1982, a year of monumental change for the U.S. Mint. For decades, pennies had been struck in solid copper. But rising copper prices forced the mint to make a fateful decision, switching the penny's composition to a copper-coated zinc core. That year, two types of pennies were born, the heavy, rich copper cents, and the lighter, cheaper zinc versions. But here's where the story takes its first shocking turn. During this transition, the mint struck both copper and zinc pennies at the very same time. And in the chaos of that shift, mix-ups occurred. Some coins meant to be one type were accidentally struck as the other. And among them, the 1982 D Mint Mark penny, a Denver-struck cent, became the most mysterious of them all. Collectors began whispering about a coin that shouldn't even exist. A 1982 D small date copper penny. For years, no one had ever seen one. Experts argued it was impossible. But then, one day, it appeared that a single coin surfaced in a private collection. A 1982 D small date struck in solid copper, verified, weighed, and authenticated. The impossible coin was real. And instantly, it became a legend. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Auction houses lit up with rumors. Dealers scrambled to confirm if more existed. Could there be another hiding in someone's change jar? Was this a one-of-a-kind error, or the tip of a hidden treasure? The price estimates climbed higher and higher, fueled by the sheer rarity of the discovery. One penny, worth up to $1.4 million, suddenly made every collector and treasure hunter in America search their change with new eyes. And here's the most spine-tingling part: that coin wasn't dug up in a collector's vault. It wasn't locked in a museum. It came from ordinary circulation. Meaning it was out there, being used, spent, tossed around like any other penny. Which raises the haunting question: how many more are still hiding in plain sight? Dealers have said it again and again, this coin is a once-in-a-lifetime find. A single mistake from the mint turned a 1-cent coin into a millionaire's dream. But let's go deeper. The key to this fortune lies in a single, tiny detail. The date on the coin. In 1982, the mint produced two date styles, the large date and the small date. Most pennies are large date. But the small date version, combined with the copper composition, is the holy grail. Collectors were shocked when the first small date copper penny with a D mint mark was confirmed. The weight sealed its authenticity, about 3.1 grams instead of the lighter zinc's 2.5 grams. That weight difference is what separates ordinary pocket change from a $1 million miracle. Think about that. One simple measurement, one tiny fraction of a gram, can mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a coin worth $1.4 million, and here's where it gets truly chilling: most people wouldn't even notice the difference. They'd see the 1982 D, assume it's common, and toss it aside. Millions of hands could have held this treasure and never realized it. Some may have even thrown it away. And yet, one lucky individual uncovered the truth and changed coin history forever. But what happened after that discovery only deepened the mystery. Collectors began scouring every 1982 penny they could find. Boxes of pennies were searched. Dealers weighed thousands of coins, hoping to strike gold. Yet so far, only one 1982 D small date copper cent has been confirmed. A one-of-a-kind specimen that stands as the pinnacle of Lincoln cent collecting. One coin. One chance. One destiny. This is why dealers will pay fortunes for it. It's not just rare, it's unique. And in the world of coin collecting, uniqueness means power. But here's the question that keeps collectors awake at night: could there be a second coin hiding in someone's drawer right now, waiting to be discovered? The mint struck billions of pennies that year. The odds are slim, but not impossible. And if even one more surfaces, the coin world will explode with excitement all over again. Every collector knows that the thrill of this hobby lies in possibility. The possibility that your next coin roll, your next pocket find, could hold the key to a life-changing discovery. And with the 1982 D copper penny, that possibility burns brighter than ever. But now, let's step into your shoes. Imagine you're at the kitchen table, sorting through loose change. You pick up a 1982 D penny. At first glance, it looks like the rest. But something feels different. You decide to weigh it. And the scale shows 3.1 grams. Your heart races. Could it be? The small date, the Denver Mint, the impossible coin, right there in your hand. That moment of realization, that a coin worth over $1 million could be yours, is the dream that keeps collectors searching, year after year. But you need to know what to look for. Because most people miss it. First, check the mint mark. You're looking for a D struck in Denver. Then, study the date. The small date style has a more delicate appearance, with the 2 and 8 sitting higher, and the 1 appearing straighter and thinner. Next, weigh the coin. A copper cent will weigh about 3.1 grams. A zinc one will be lighter, about 2.5 grams. If you find a 1982 D small date that weighs 3.1 grams, you've uncovered one of the rarest coins in American history. 1 cent, transformed into over $1 million. Or will you let it slip through your fingers like countless others who never looked close enough, because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but when the truth was revealed, it sold for nearly $1.5 million. And here's the shocking part: you might be holding the very same penny in your hands right now. In 1994, billions of Lincoln pennies rolled out of the U.S. Mint. Ordinary. Overlooked. Tossed into piggy banks, vending machines, and grocery store cash registers. But hidden among them was a secret, a mistake so rare, so unexpected, that decades later it has collectors and dealers bidding like their lives depend on it. At first glance, the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny looks like pocket change. Copper-plated zinc. A simple memorial reverse. The kind of coin you'd spend without a second thought. But buried in its design is a detail so small, and so powerful, it transformed a penny into a fortune. Collectors couldn't believe it when the first discovery surfaced. A man in Ohio pulled a handful of change from his dresser, and one coin felt different. He didn't know why. He just knew it stood out. When he sent it for grading, experts gasped. The strike was sharp, the mint mark was missing, and the coin's luster was breathtaking. It was a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. That single coin later crossed the auction block for a jaw-dropping price, close to $1.5 million, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread like wildfire. Suddenly, collectors everywhere were digging through their jars, scouring flea markets, and searching coin rolls from banks. Dealers were desperate, hoping to find another one of these 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies. The value kept climbing. The rarity became legendary. And whispers began to circulate. How many of these were out there? A handful? A few dozen? Or just one? The truth only deepened the mystery. You see, 1994 was a transitional time for the US Mint. Mistakes slipped through the cracks. Sometimes dies were reused. Sometimes mint marks were forgotten. And sometimes, as in this case, those mistakes created coins worth more than houses, cars, and life savings combined. What most people dismissed as a single cent was quietly becoming a $1 million miracle, but here's the chilling part: most of these coins have already been lost. Spent. Scratched. Circulated into oblivion. The survivors? They hide in private collections, bank vaults, or, just maybe, inside your pocket right now. Collectors were shocked when another specimen surfaced. Perfectly preserved, its surfaces gleamed under the grating lights. Experts confirmed its authenticity, and dealers lined up with offers. Bidding wars erupted. The hammer finally fell, and yet again, the price soared into the stratosphere. Nearly $1.5 million, for a coin most people would never give a second glance, and this isn't just about money, this coin represents history. It tells the story of minting errors, of human oversight, of fate itself. One tiny missing detail turned an everyday penny into a legendary prize. It proves that hidden treasures are out there, waiting to be found by someone with the eyes to see that it's the absence of a tiny letter. Normally, pennies struck in Denver bear a D mint mark. Those made in Philadelphia often go without. But here's the twist: the 1994 Philadelphia issues weren't supposed to look like this. Some came out with unusual die varieties. Some with doubling. And the rarest of all, the no-mint mark rarities with flawless strikes and blazing luster. That's where the real money is hiding. Collectors know to look for the sharpness in Lincoln's beard, the clarity of the word liberty, the perfect alignment of the date. Even the tiniest doubling on, "In God We Trust," can multiply the value. And if the surfaces remain pristine, free from scratches or spots, that's when the $1 million dream becomes reality. But here's the danger most people overlook: cleaning the coin destroys its value. Just one careless wipe can erase decades of preserved luster. Many hopeful collectors have unknowingly ruined their fortune by polishing their penny, thinking they were helping. In truth, they were wiping away $1 million with a single stroke. The greatest stories come from those who recognized the treasure before it slipped away. A young collector once traded his rare 1994 penny for just a few dollars at a coin shop, not knowing what he had. That coin later sold at auction for life-changing money. Can you imagine the heartbreak? Can you imagine realizing you gave away $1 million miracle for pocket change? But that's why you're here. Because now, you'll know what to look for. Imagine holding your coin up to the light, studying the date, and realizing, you have it. The strike, the shine, the absence of a mint mark. That instant rush of adrenaline. The racing heartbeat. The thought that your life is about to change forever. That's the power of this coin. Dealers are still searching. Auctions are still setting records. And every time a new 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny appears, the entire coin world holds its breath. Who will find the next one? How much will it sell for? And what ordinary pocket will it come from? Now listen closely, because this could be the difference between fortune and nothing. To identify this $1 million penny, examine the 1994 Lincoln cent carefully. Look for the absence of a mint mark beneath the date. Check for sharp, well-defined details in Lincoln's portrait. Pay attention to doubling in the motto or date, that can increase the value dramatically. And above all, preserve the coin's condition. Don't clean it. Don't scratch it. Protect it like the treasure it truly is. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.